Welcome to the Gone for 10 show. It's your host, Larry, and with me is my brother, the Tony Rosina, and it's the Larry Taylor. How are you today, the Tony?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, like you said, your parents adopted me in the last episode, so it is the Tony Rosina now. And obviously, Larry, you succeeded. You came in with a plan to get me to change my name. It's happened. Follow us both on Twitter because that is where all this stuff is going to come quick and fast to you. But take it away, Larry. You're in charge today.
I will. But before I do that, I do have to ask you, how is life having a V at the front of your name?
It almost feels like I'm entitled. Now, obviously, we did speak about this off air. My name is Antonio, and Twitter has stitched me up. It is one letter too long, so I can't have the Antonio Rosina. So I had to settle for the Tony Rosina. But it's almost like, like when you're sitting on like an uncomfortable chair and you go to Bank West and you get those nice padded seats. That's what it feels like. It feels like I've kind of gone up in the world. So happy days.
I don't bank that Bank West, but anyway, let's talk about the football, shall we? Let's talk about the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, the prediction for this will be interesting. Now, you asked me in the last episode, well, Larry, who do you have finishing last? Well, there you have it. I have the Cowboys. But please, before I tell you why the Cowboys will comfortably finish last, please give me your prediction of why they're going to finish on a highly renowned 14th.
Oh, obviously, it is just trials. We spoke about this off air. It was just trials, but I feel like they do have that excitement. They've obviously got the hammer. They've got Chad Townsend coming in. They just have this youthful side that, again, I'm not asking them to change the world. I'm not asking them to finish up the top of the table, but I think they've got enough to finish ahead of the likes of, like we said last episode, the Tigers. Chad Townsend coming in does have a lot of pressure. Early signs that he did play really well in those trials, so I'm expecting him to have a big season. Valentine Holmes look good. They've got the pieces, Larry, where if they can all click, those not big names, but good players, if they can click, they have enough talent to avoid that spoon this year.
They do have talent. I guess the concern for me is I look at the side. Like, I'm looking at the back line, right? Fullback's been a problem for the Cowboys since Matt Bowen retired. And I know they obviously did win a comp with Lachlan Coote there, but even when he was there, it just never felt like he belonged in that kit, if I may say. So this season, it looks like they're going to go with the hammer at fullback. But then I look at that back line. Okay, so we got Murray Talagi, Valentine Holmes is being played in the centers. Man, center is one of those positions. If you don't know how to read the game, you get exposed and you concede a lot of points. Now, Valentine Holmes with the ball is good, but everything I've seen of him suggests to me he's a brilliant winger, and that's it. This move to the centers is really risky for me. And I understand that on paper it makes sense. You want to get your best players receiving the ball as much as possible. I just look through their side and I don't know. I just feel really underwhelmed, to be honest. I like Chad Townsend, but he's very much a controlling halfback. He needs someone creative next to him because he's not creative, okay? So it's probably going to be Tom Deedon. Is he creative for me? Not really. Josh Drinkwater is the one everyone... sorry, not Josh Drinkwater. I'm thinking of football. Scott Drinkwater is the one that everyone says could be that creative player. I know he's highly renowned or highly regarded, I should say, by a lot of pundits and respected figures in the game. But I look at him and I always say this about players who never last at Melbourne. There is a reason why the Melbourne Storm get rid of you. And I look at Scott Drinkwater and I've seen enough of him to say there's talent there, but I think he's one of those players who he lacks consistency, and I just don't see enough from him to say he's going to do it for you regularly enough to be a regular first grader. Now, again, I could be proven wrong here with egg on my face at the end of the season. And then you move to the forward pack. Jason Tomololo, for me, is starting to have a dip off in his career. And I say that because he's 29 years of age this season. His game has not evolved. And Phil Gould said this years ago. And I remember looking at it at the time thinking, you know what? I agree 100% with this. He uses his body like a battering ram. He hasn't added a ball playing element into his game. He's not used or utilized as a decoy as much as he should do. And I mean this in the most respectful way. The way he plays suggests to me that he's not the most intelligent footballer. He's not someone who, well, let me put it to you this way. He was seen as a back rower, and they had to move him centrally because he never used to run the right lines. They didn't feel like he had that consistency on the edge. So they moved him into the middle where his game was extremely simplified. You take it up the guts, you use your footwork, you use your power, and he became a power player. Now, that's all well and good when you've got the physical attributes that he's blessed with. But I look at the Tongan international now, and I'm like, okay, his metrics last season are down. There's no denying that. The stats tell you that. So what's going to be different this season? He's going to be a battering ram because I look at that forward pack. Cohen Hess being moved into the middle. I mean, he's not that sort of player for me. Jordan McLean, I'm going to be honest, I never rated him. I didn't rate him at Melbourne. I didn't rate him at the Cowboys. This thing that he was a state of origin player, I never understood it. And I think I'm being proven to be right. They're saying that it's going to be Helam Luki in the back row, Jeremiah Nanai. And then I look at that bench as well. Jermaine Tanoa Brown, Ruben Cotter, Mitchell Dunn. Not a lot there. Not a lot of players that some of those players that like that. I look at that bench. I don't even know some of them. And that's not to say they won't be good. But the point is, when you look at the unknown and I look at the players I do know, I just don't see a lot there. I look at that back line, Peter Hiku. I mean, he's past his best. With all due respect, he is. Kyle Felt, state of origin player. Inconsistent, though. He had moments last season where he could be brilliant, but he also had other moments where you're like, is he past his best? There's so many question marks all over the team for me, and that's why I'm saying I think they'll finish last. I think you'll find they're going to struggle to score points, and because of that, they're going to chop and change through their spine. And because of that, they're not going to get results. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, obviously we can sit here at the end of the season. You could be spot on, or like you said, you're going to have egg on your face, and that egg could be on your face after round one because they do take on your Bulldogs. So we could be sitting here at the end of round one going, yeah, I stuffed up, or maybe they're going to finish higher. But that's football in the end, Larry. You're either going to predict something, you're going to get 100% right. Like I was looking at the NRL website today and I found this article, the best lock of the last 30 years. It was published in 2020. Jason Taumalolo got 38% of the votes and won that poll. So like you said, he's on the decline and that's how much potential he had. So it is scary to see, but like I said, Larry, we're going to find out, and this could be a team that could exceed expectations or sit exactly where we think they're going to be in that bottom three, but I don't see them going any higher. So We'll move on to a team, Larry. Obviously, it's a team that you have quite high. I have quite high. Take it away. It's South Sydney. I hate them. Personal rivalry, but what are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I don't like the Rabbitohs either, to be honest.
I knew there was a reason we got along.
I got to say, I'm going to make one statement on the Rabbitohs that's not football related, and then I promise to bring it back to the football. This saying that said mindlessly, rugby league's going well when the Rabbitohs are going well, please. Please. No one gives a shit about the Rabbitohs, with all due respect. No one gives a shit about the Rabbitohs except Rabbitohs fans. And I've got to be honest, they're not. I haven't had pleasant experiences. I was about to give the good old general brush there. I'm not going to do that. But I've had some quite negative experiences with Rabbitohs fans. Now, you're all probably watching this video saying, oh, and the Bulldogs fans are absolutely classy. Hey, I agree with you. I hate the Bulldogs fans too. That's why I sit with my mates on the halfway line instead of in the kennel. But anyway, all jokes aside, look, the Rabbitohs still a really strong side. It's really interesting that neither of us have them finishing in the top four. We're talking about last season's grand finalists. Now, why is that? Please give me your view on the South Sydney boys.
Oh, obviously, the only reason I have them outside that top four is purely, obviously, Adam Reynolds, big loss. Obviously, they lost Wayne Bennett, another massive loss. And we saw when Benji Marshall did come on the pitch towards the back end of games, he did have that ability, even at his age, to change the game. So I think they've lost a lot, and I think you're going to find that Adam Reynolds is a massive gap to fill. And obviously, you've got Jaden Sewer, who's another big player that they lost. So that's why I've got him outside that top four.
Yeah, it's a really valid point. And look, Adam Reynolds is a massive loss. And how they replace him this season will be extremely interesting. But look, there's still enough talent there. Look, Latrell Mitchell has to be the key player. Would I be right in saying that? He's got that ability to just break a game wide open. He's got all the ability in the world. And I think he should be hungry after what happened last season. The fact he didn't play in the grand final, I expect him to come back and absolutely dominate this season. Can I ask you on Latrell Mitchell? And obviously, you'd be familiar with him with his time at the Roosters. And again, I mean this in a really respectful way. Carries a bit of too much timber for me. I think he should, if he just lost that little bit more weight, I think he would find himself being just that touch more explosive. Now, he was having a great season last season, and particularly in State of Origin. He looked great. But I just think if he just slimmed down that little bit more, I think he'd be that touch more explosive, and I think he could take his game to a whole new level.
Yeah, I mean, I completely support you. And I think obviously coming from a Roosters fans, we did see that slightly slimmer Latrell Mitchell when he was at the Roosters. And there was a reason that he was arguably the best centre in the game at the time. All the clubs were chasing him. And like you said, he drops few kilos. He's a bit more agile. He's still going to have that aggression because that's how Latrell plays. And if he can get that agility into his game, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Absolutely. Lachlan and Ilias is going to be the interesting one. He looks like he'll get the halfback spot first. So let's see how he goes. All the best to him, obviously. But man, you're looking at that pack. It's strong. It's a strong pack. It's still a good back line as well. Blake Taff will obviously start the season at fullback, but I think once Latrell comes in, I think they'll be all guns blazing. And look, they'll obviously lose a bit with Reynolds, and I think that's why we both have them dropping down that little bit. I think in those fine margin games, they might find themselves on the other side of those rather than on the right side of them in terms of victories and losses, but still lots of quality, isn't there? They should still finish in the top 8 comfortably.
Well, like you said, there's a lot of quality there, and you kind of sometimes look past it because you have that Adam Reynolds. Like they've still got Latrell, they've still got Walker, they've still got Murray, they've still got Cook. That is a massive, massive core that they can move forward with. Now, my issue being, obviously, like you said, Lachlan Ilias, if he plays well, he's up there for Rookie of the Year. If Souths do well, but if they do bad, you know where all that heat's going to start going to, and does he lose his confidence? So that is a massive thing that he has to face with. So I don't know, Larry. I feel like they're going to have a good season, but I feel like that loss of Wayne Bennett as well can be massive. Again, coming in those close games like you mentioned.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to watch South this season. I think, honestly, that they're one of those sides. You look at them, they've got enough quality to finish in the 8. If they get it right, they could absolutely push for the top 4 and comfortably be in the top 4. I just keen to see how the young halfback goes. But I tell you what, if a club's willing to get rid of Adam Reynolds, they must really believe in his ability. But we wait and see. Let's talk about let's go to the other side of the Dutch. Let's talk about the New Zealand Warriors. Man, is there a more frustrating side in the NRL as a neutral? I mean, every season you look at their team on paper and you say, quality all over the place. They should finish in the top 8 comfortably. I think I've been saying that since 2011 when they last made the grand final and last time they made the finals, ironically. Tell me, you've got them 12th. I've got them 9th. What are we doing with the Warriors?
Like you said, Larry, I think if you were to ask my dad, if he wasn't in bed at the moment, it is quite late, I would get him out of here and he'd say the exact same thing you just said. Every year I go, this is the year for the Warriors. They've got the squad. They're going to push. They're going to make finals. They're going to go on a deep run. But again, we sit here and we go, what is going wrong with them? Now, I've gone 12th. I think they have lost a few players, obviously. Tuivasa-Sheck, massive loss. They've lost Kane Evans. They've lost Peter Hiku. They did lose Ken Mamalo towards the back end of last season. And on his day, their ins, Sean Johnson is a massive player. But between his injuries and his hit and miss games, I don't know if he can bring the Warriors to that level where they're competing for that top 8 spot.
Ash Taylor's an interesting one. What do you think he'll make of this season? Do you expect him to show his quality? Because look, there's quality there, there's talent there. I almost feel a bit bad for him. And yeah, how do you feel bad for someone who's been paid $1 million for the last 3 years? Yeah, I take your point. But in saying that, I think he didn't ask for that contract. He got an agent. His agent does what a good agent should do and gets the best deal for his client. Now, inevitably, I think his career has suffered because of that. But there's a reason why he got that contract to begin with. He's got talent and he's still young enough to turn this all around. So what do you make of Ash Taylor? Do you think he'll end up forcing his way into the halves this season? Or do you think he'll very much I hate to say this, but do you think he's on that negative slope out of first grade?
I don't want to say it's his slowly slip out of first grade because there are teams that I see below the Warriors that could use him if he wasn't going to find his squad. We have spoken about the Tigers. Could use him. Could be a great replacement. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to push. He'll find those games during Origin where he gets to play that bit of game time as well. It's now, will he take his chances? If he doesn't take his chances, that slowly decline starts. If he does take his chances, and like I said, there's no guarantee Sean Johnson's going to get through a whole season. So there might be shuffles in those positions. I think he can take his chances. He's still young. He's still got the ability. He's a great player on his day. I think no one can disagree with that. But can he start to make those days where he is at his form more and more consistent? I don't know about that.
Give me a prediction then. It's round 25. We're at the end of the season. Who's the starting halfback for the New Zealand Warriors?
Sean Johnson.
Still Sean Johnson.
Still Sean. I just think Sean Johnson can change a game. We've seen it year and year that he can change a game if he's on.
My take on the Warriors is lots of talent, but lots of question marks at the same time. We saw a little bit of Chanel Harris-Tavita last season. He looked good. He was the interesting one. Before I continue on Chanel, actually, Rhys Walsh. What's going on there? And that's another really interesting point. He's already been linked with a return to Queensland, whether that be with the Broncos or the Dolphins. We wait and see. He's still under contract for 2023, crucially. And I just think another year of potentially away from New Zealand. Is it all getting a little bit too much for the Kiwi boys? I don't know. I like Chanel Harris-Tavita. I saw a bit of him last season. I think he's got talent. Man, again, I look at that back line. Doesn't fill me with absolute confidence. Watene Zelezniak at the Bulldogs, he makes you meters out of your own end, which is invaluable. But defensively, he doesn't read the game well, and he's got an error in him. He drops the ball. Oh my gosh, can we talk about Manu? Let's not talk about Manu Vatuvei.
Let's not go there, but yeah, definitely scary times.
Indeed. You look at their backline, Adam Pompey, a good player. Just, yeah, I like Fanua Blake. I like the look of the pack, actually. There's still a few really good players in there. Fanua Blake is on I remember the interview he did during COVID, and I remember thinking, what an absolute idiot. But in saying that, purely, look, whatever. It's obviously, it was a belief thing. Maybe he didn't communicate that very well. Fair play to him. But what a player. He's such a good prop. And for me, he's the best prop in the game at the moment. I love the way he takes the ball up with aggression. He'll lead from the front. I'm with you. I think they'll have games where you're going to say they're going to finish top 4, but they will be inconsistent. And because of that, they're going to inevitably finish 12th. Same old story for the Warriors.
I mean, that was a great end for you. I mean, Larry, I'm just going to put this back up here because you've said 12. I said 12. You said 9. So,
well, I take your point, but what I'm saying is, in the context of things, they'll give you some good performances, they'll give you some bad ones, and they'll finish somewhere in that 9th to 12th bracket. Honestly, they could finish anywhere there. They've got the talent to make the top 8. But they just never get it all together. And I don't know why, and it's frustrating because I like the Warriors. I do like the Warriors. I don't know. Maybe this will be the year. That's their 11th year. Sorry, 10th year since they've made the final. So
that's the 10th year of us saying that could be their year, Larry. So, I mean, like I said, fingers crossed. They do play some great football when they are on. It reminds you of playing football in the backyard, throwing the passes around like you're a bunch of kids. So, they do play that exciting football, but sometimes exciting football doesn't get you results. So it's a scary one, Larry. Have you got anything to add? Have you got anything to say to the people that are listening, to the people that haven't subscribed? What do you want to say?
Make sure you're subscribed. Like the video. Hope you're enjoying the content. Obviously, we're finding our feet. We're getting familiar with ourselves. We are going to be the #1 rugby league channel, show, content provider, whatever you want to call us. We're on our way up. Look, we've already got you a new logo, and we're only 2 weeks in. So you're getting spoiled here. So make sure you do like the video, do subscribe, and if you're not going to subscribe, you can go for 10.
Go for 10. Cheers, Larry.
Cheers.